Coming up tonight, it's a first ever all headlines episode of Don't Panic.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is Don't Panic, episode number 229, recorded January 14th, 2019. Oops, all headlines. Greetings everyone, I'm Sean Jennings. Thanks for joining us on this special Oops All Headlines edition of Don't Panic. Now, it's the first one of these we're doing, so allow me to explain a bit. We normally try and do as many episodes of Don't Panic in a year as possible. It's 52 weeks. Unfortunately, this is just a hobby, just a side gig for myself, Dan and Colby. We have lives, we've got jobs and commitments. We can't always get in all 52 weeks of the year, so we thought we would try to fill those remaining weeks with some great additional bonus content to go 100% throughout the year. Introducing Oops All Headlines. It's just the news, something that we can tape and pre-record and do easily each week without needing the whole crew. But we are going to deliver some excellent tech news to you in this format, and we want to hear from you guys. If you like this format, if you want to see more of this type of content in addition to our regular shows, don't think those will change. We'll keep doing regular full editions of Don't Panic. Fortunately enough for you tonight, you won't have to hear what we had for dinner or what we would do if we won the lottery. No, it's just the news, and we're going to go ahead and jump in with our first story. A new analysis by researchers at New York and Princeton universities explain some interesting results on how older Americans use social media. The study, published in Science Advances, examined user behavior in the months before and after the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The good news, only 8.5% of users in the study shared at least one link from a fake news site, although those who identified as conservative were more likely than users who identified as liberal to share fake news. 18% of Republicans shared versus less than 4% of Democrats. But the interesting thing you might have heard of in the headlines is that the older users skewed the finding. 11% of users older than 65 shared a hoax, while just 3% of users 18 to 29 did. Facebook users ages 65 and older shared more than twice as many fake news articles than the next oldest age group of 45 to 65, and nearly 7 times as many as the youngest age group. Co-author of the study, Andrew Guess, a political scientist at Princeton University, said, quote, "When we bring up the age finding, a lot of people say, oh yeah, that's obvious. For me, what is pretty striking is that the relationship holds even when you control for party affiliation or ideology. The fact that it's independent of these other traits is pretty surprising to me. It's not just being driven by older people more conservative." Now, the study did not draw a conclusion as to why older users are more likely to share these hoaxes, though they do point to two possible theories. The first is that older people who came to the internet later lack the digital literacy skills of their younger counterparts. The second is that people experience cognitive decline as they age, making them likelier to fall for hoaxes. Next up, a report from both The Intercept and The Information reports that smart doorbell company Ring allowed employees to share unencrypted customer videos with each other and gave various teams access to unencrypted video files on company servers and live feeds from some customer cameras, a big invasion of privacy. The reports say this behavior began in 2016 when the company moved their efforts from San Francisco to Ukraine to save money. Sources say that for months after the Ukraine office was opened, videos were frequently transmitted without encryption. In addition, the company provided its R&D team in Ukraine with virtually unrestricted access to a folder on the company's Amazon S3 cloud storage instance containing every Ring customer video. Those videos were unencrypted and could be easily downloaded and shared. The team was also given a database that linked each video to the Ring customer it belonged to. And at the same time, US-based Ring executives and engineers were granted overreaching access to unfiltered, around-the-clock live feeds from some customer cameras. Now, there aren't any documented instances of this being abused, but a source told The Intercept, quote, "If someone knew a reporter or a competitor's email address, they could view all their cameras." And the source also recounted instances of Ring engineers teasing each other about who they brought home after romantic dates. Now, Amazon, who owns Ring, came out after the story was published and said that they take privacy and security very seriously. Quote, "Ring does not provide and has never provided employees with access to live streams of Ring devices. We have zero tolerance for abuse of our systems, and if we find bad actors who have engaged in this behavior, we will take swift action against them." Also in the news this week, NBCUniversal announced they're entering the streaming wars with its own standalone streaming service set to launch in 2020. They'll have two flavors. An ad-supported version of the service will be free for NBC TV subscribers in the United States via your cable company, and a paid version of the app, which includes an ad-free version for those who don't want to see commercials, will be available for $12.99, according to a CNBC report, which will allow cord cutters access to the app if they don't have cable. Now, much like CBS All Access, NBCUniversal streaming service will offer original programming for subscribers alongside its catalog of titles, most of which have been produced by NBC, like 30 Rock and The Good Place. Other series like ER and Friends, however, which aired on NBC previously, are technically owned by other studios, may not be available to stream. That's depending on various licensing rights. Interestingly enough, a kind of curious spin on this, NBCUniversal also owns 30% of Hulu, which it would directly compete against. Disney owns the other 70%, with rumors circulating that Disney may be interested in purchasing that 30% from NBCUniversal. Now, when this launches in 2020, we'll be competing against new streaming entries from Disney and their Disney Plus service, as well as a competing streaming service from the combo AT&T Warner Brothers. Next up, AT&T acting a little bit sneaky with their 5G marketing. Recently, they updated 3 smartphones from Samsung and LG to make them show 5G connectivity logos, even though they're not capable of connecting to 5G networks that don't even exist yet. When these phones are connected to portions of AT&T's LTE network that have received some speed boosting upgrades, and that's in air quotes because it's not 5G, it's speed boosting updates, they'll show an icon that says 5GE instead of LTE. Now, the E in the logo is supposed to tip you off it's not real 5G, just marketing terminology. These portions of AT&T's network have received speed-boosting upgrades and should be faster than typical LTE, but AT&T isn't doing anything other carriers haven't already implemented. Verizon and T-Mobile struck back, though, Verizon saying, quote, "We won't take an old phone and just change the software to turn a 4 in the status bar into a 5 in a full-page ad published in newspapers as well as in a blog post." T-Mobile also cited CTO claimed AT&T was duping customers and even joked about upgrading the iPhone to 9G simply by putting a sticky note on it. Now, Verizon isn't completely out of the clear. They've been misleading 5G for a little bit, claiming they launched the world's first commercial 5G service, but it really wasn't. First of all, it wasn't mobile. It was actually home internet service, and they only delivered 5G over the final stretch from the carrier to the users, not really 5G. Basically, the don't panic takeaway on this story is if someone's marketing you 5G in 2019, you're not really getting 5G. The technology doesn't exist yet. You probably won't see it for a couple more years. And now for our final story, the incredible shareable egg. That's right. A stock picture of an egg has become the most liked photo in Instagram history. Now over 43 million likes from the account World Record Egg. The description of the photo says, "Let's set a world record together and get the most liked post on Instagram." It, of course, exceeded that 43 million likes, bigger than the population of Australia. It beat the previous record holder, which was a Kylie Jenner post, which had generated 18 million likes announcing her pregnancy. And finally, a segment. We're going to be doing a bit of these in these Oops All Headlines episodes, and maybe we'll repeat some segments. Maybe we'll try some new one. Let us know if you like them or they don't. Today's segment, the craziest gadget I saw this week, and that comes from the fine folks at Caper. Caper makes a smart shopping cart. Now, they currently have a version that has a built-in barcode scanner and credit card swiper, but it's working on the technology to fully automate the scanning of items as you drop them into the cart. Now, the company claims people already buy 18% more per visit when they use their carts, and they're hoping to really increase that with the automated scanning. The way it'll work is cameras on the cart will employ image recognition matched with a weight sensor in the bottom of a cart to identify what you toss in there. You simply shop like normal, but then pay and leave right on the cart without ever having to get in line or talk with anyone. Caper uses the store's existing security feed to help detect shoplifting, though they say it hasn't been much of a problem in their 2 pilot stores that are testing the technology. And they wouldn't reveal the price of the carts, simply saying they're not much more expensive than a standard cart, and to outfit a store in these, it would be comparable to the price of implementing traditional self-checkout. Now, a shop would buy the carts outright and pay a technology subscription, but get free hardware upgrades as time goes on. Caper hopes to deliver a couple benefits to merchants, including repurposing cashier labor to help assist customers when they're not actually scanning things. They also want to be able to promote in real time as you're shopping around the store, giving recommendations based on what you've placed in your cart. And of course, it is a big data collection opportunity. They want to know what aisles you stop in front of, what routes you take through the store, so company and stores can optimize their layouts. Who knows, maybe a fancy self-scanning shopping cart may be coming soon to a store near you. Well, that wraps up this first ever Oops All Headlines here on Don't Panic. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for joining us. I want to hear your feedback on what you thought of this experiment. We're going to keep doing these. Actually, we'll do another one of these this next week because we're unavailable, and then we'll be back to a regular show after that. So let us know what you think. You can reach out to us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. We read them, we respond to them, so check us out there. You can also tweet at us at Don't Panic Show. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the show, that's insane to me because I don't even know where you would find it if you weren't subscribed. But you can subscribe to it, the audio on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, now on Spotify, Overcast, or wherever you get podcasts, and the video version is on YouTube. We also have a great website, don'tpanic.io. Get there, see past episodes, see our picks, get all the info on the show at that spot. And that's pretty much all you need to know about Don't Panic. We appreciate y'all joining us on this special Oops All Headline edition. We'll be back next week with more tech news. On behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. We'll see you then. This has been a Coffee and Beer production, executive produced by Dan Miller, Colby Rabideau, and Sean Jennings. To learn more, visit coffeeandbeer.tv.